Hey everyone, I'm Haley with Domestic Goddess Designs, and this is my tutorial for a UV color changing Peekaboo Epoxy Tumbler. I'm so excited that you joined me today. Now let's have some fun. I'm starting off with a fully sanded and prepped tumbler that I have already spray painted Rust-Oleum white. It's a 20 ounce thick from Makerflow. I have 4 different kinds of glitter here. 3 are UV color changing from Sparkly Meemaw. I have white to blue, white to pink, and white to purple. I also have Frosty by Peachy Olive Glitters. In the cup, I've combined the UV color changing glitters equally, and I added some Frosty in just for some extra dimension. As you can see, I'm applying using the epoxy method. I have less than 1 milliliters of epoxy on this cup. I'm applying this glitter mixture extremely liberally. Because this is a color changing white to purple, we're going to be kind of combating that white base. Just like if you were going to be glittering a gold cup, you would spray paint the cup gold first so that you could only use 1 coat. But in this, we're going from white to purple, so I'm going to do 3 coats of this glitter mixture. I do the first coat with the epoxy method and the second and third coats using Krylon adhesive spray. I spray it with the Krylon adhesive and I go right in immediately with a second round of glitter. For the third layer, you're going to do the exact same thing. Apply the Krylon adhesive spray, then apply another layer of glitter. Wait about 4 hours and then you're ready for your first coat of epoxy. For this first layer, our layer of glitter is so thick, I've got to do a nice heaping layer of epoxy as well. I'm doing 40 milliliters on this first coat. I'm going to apply it, I'm going to let it set about 4 or so hours, and then go right in with our second layer. Our second layer of epoxy is going to be about 25 milliliters. And don't forget to pop your bubbles, I totally forgot to add that in the video. And here we are after 3 full layers of glitter. I'm going to shine this UV light on it just so you can see the transition of our purple to white. Is fully cured, we can go ahead and sand the top and the bottom rims. I will note though, if your cup is really bumpy or you're finding that you're having to sand really hard, it's best to just throw on a third coat of epoxy rather than to keep sanding and end up down to the stainless steel. We're headed right into Cricut to print out our decals. So what I wanted was I wanted a background so that I could make a stencil out of it, and then I wanted an outline so I can outline it later. But I got something off of Etsy and it's not quite what I wanted, but I'm going to show you how I made it work. So here is one of the hearts. I'm going to resize it down to where you can actually see it. And I'm going to duplicate it. And this one I'm going to ungroup and show you exactly what it is. So it's not an outline and a background like I thought it was, it's a bunch of little pieces. This is what I wanted and this is what I got. But here's how I made it work. So I started off, I duplicated the black background and I just kind of moved it over to the side. Then I took the red and I welded it together. Then without moving anything, I selected the whole thing and I sliced it. Now we can get rid of the front red piece and we've got an outline. I'm going to make the background yellow just to show you the difference here. See, now we have our outline and we have our background stencil. And I'm just going to get rid of all of that because I already did them all exactly how I wanted them. They're sized about 2 inches all the way up to 3.5 inches across. I've got my main decal, that's going to be in premium vinyl. Then I have my stencils that I actually have stencil vinyl for. And then I have our outline, and that is going to be cut out in chrome vinyl. I went ahead and brought the main decal over so I can lay it on the cup and see how much space it takes. I'm going to be laying the stencils everywhere around it. Otherwise, I'd fill the whole darn cup up with stencils and then there would be no spot for a decal. You probably noticed also that I didn't use transfer tape to put the stencils on, which I normally would have, but since I was doing the Dawn Powerwash method, my spray paint didn't really have to be perfect, so it didn't bother me if my stencils kind of were a little bit messed up or maybe they didn't get a completely secure fit on there. It was okay because it's not going to look perfect after we spray paint it anyway. I ended up using every single stencil that I cut out, and I had a lot of space left, which I didn't really love, so I went back on the Cricut and I cut out just some other random hearts and a heart outline that I found on my subscription there. Now that our stencils are laid, we're going to head outside with our Dawn Powerwash and our white spray paint. Spritz the cup with your power wash, do not saturate, then immediately go in with your white spray paint, again not saturating. Rinse the cup off with some water and let it dry. If you don't find you have the coverage the first time, it's totally cool to go in with a second coat. It's what I ended up doing too. Once your spray paint is completely dry, it's time for the tedious part of removing all the stencils. Stencil vinyl is so much easier to remove than even the removable vinyl. It doesn't leave all the adhesive behind, and it's great, but even this was tough to remove. Keep in mind, I did speed the video up, so I'm not going this fast removing these. Take your time. You could very easily scratch your paint, and then you're kind of stuck having to do some sort of a repair. Just take your time. It's okay that this part takes a while. We're going in for our third layer of epoxy. I decided to add some extra sparkle, so I grabbed Woody's Goodies Santa's Beard and put it into the epoxy. It's an extra fine white glitter that looks beautiful on everything. Now it's time to place our decals. I've got our main decal and I'm going to place it right over the offset. And it's going to go on the cup right where we didn't lay any stencils earlier. Now to place our heart outlines. This part was a little bit challenging. I couldn't really make out very well on the cup where the hearts were versus where their outlines should go, so I ended up getting my UV light. I shined it over the top of the cup, and it helped me see it a lot more clearly. Chrome vinyl has an irritating tendency to lift under epoxy. So to prevent this, I added a thin coat of Quick Coat by Counterculture DIY. After our Quick Coat is dry, it takes about 30 minutes. We're going to go in with another layer of epoxy. This is about 20 milliliters of Superclear Epoxy. It has max UV inhibitors, which is really important in a design like this. This is going to be one of our final layers of epoxy. Now here's our cup with one layer of epoxy over the decals. I'm going to hit it up with some UV light so you can see some of the color change in the glitter, but keep in mind, out in the sun, it's much more vibrant. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into my channel. I hope that you loved this video because I loved making it for you. And this cup turned out way better than I even had in my head. If you did enjoy this video, please hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss any upcoming videos, and hit a like on this video on your way out. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.